Hold on, listen to.
This is FanSpeak, a weekly live
Okay, Mr.
show where
Marvel
the
should
fans
be
of
here
comics
soon.
We're
and
live.
its community are our
Sorry.
guests.
Hold on, listen to.
This is
All right,
FanSpeak,
hello,
a weekly
everybody.
live
Okay, Mr.
show
Marvel
where the
should
fans
be
of
here.
comics. Today, we've had everything that could possibly messed up, and it's my fault. But here we are. We are here, and we're only a minute late, so it's okay. It's okay. Really, it is. Anyway, welcome to the show. Of course, today is FanSpeak. I'm Chester C. Busby III, and I'm joined by a pretty big panel, and we got a couple more people coming over too. So that's going to be a great show we're going to have today. And of course, we got some news we're going to be covering as well. But first thing I usually want to do is come in and talk about the various links we have, and we appreciate all the involvement we have over on FanSpeak on Facebook. It is awesome. Also, keep in mind that you have links down below to be on the show or be on the fan edition of Join Recorded. Actually, we've been getting a lot of people call up for that. And as you saw yesterday on the fan edition, we had 3 new faces. And next week we'll have some more. So it's that's coming along really nicely. And the guy, George's art yesterday was so killer. It was really, really good. Did you guys see that art yet? No comment? I guess they didn't see it. And I'm getting no interaction
Nope.
from the other side whatsoever. Oh, there we
Nope.
go. All right. Just thought I had lost you there for a second. But
Nope.
yeah, I've been having a little bit of troubles this morning with setting up the Streamlabs and stuff like that. It seems that when you turn on a VPN, YouTube and Streamlabs go crazy, and they kind of break down and have one of those breaking down robot moments. Is what happened. That's what happened, and I think it's still ongoing. Denali, how you doing today?
I'm doing okay.
Okay, good. So you can hear me, I can hear you. Hopefully they can hear you as well. Joshua Hughes says, but you're always a minute late, Chester. No, I'm not, Joshua. All right, they put bacon on my burger. That's good, dude. Doxed. Yes, I
No,
did.
it's not.
Did I dox you?
It's not. You did dox me.
Damn, I do apologize.
No, it's cool. I've been doxed so many times that I don't even think it's doxing anymore.
Yeah, no, it's
Yeah.
hard to remember. Call people by their nicknames, I guess.
But no, I'm sad. They put bacon on my cheeseburger, which means I can't eat it anymore.
Why?
So, I don't eat bacon. It really upsets my stomach.
Oh, I see.
So I'm gonna take that back.
That's really
Just
unfortunate because
peel it off.
everything is better with bacon, you know.
Well,
Yeah.
it's really unfortunate because I rushed down there to get something to eat, and then I can't even eat what I bought. So, thank you, Sonic.
Sonic. Oh wow, I've heard of that before. I've never eaten at one. Eric Hawkins is in here. He says, "Even everyone will even it to you." Me Grimlock King 83 says, "Yes, it is. Bacon is wonderful." Yes, it is. You're absolutely correct.
Was that a joke that you've heard of Sonic?
No,
Is that a joke?
there's a burger joint called Sonic. I've heard of it. Yeah,
Oh, yeah. Okay.
yeah. I've never been to one, but I haven't been in the States in a couple decades. So I remember there was like a Checkers. I remember I've heard of something called a Whataburger. Is that what it's called? I've never seen
I
one of
love
those.
Yep.
Whataburger.
Yeah,
Yeah,
never seen one
they're
of
still
those.
good.
No. In Texas, we call them Whataburger. Like it's just like it's amazing. It's the best place.
Just keep in mind, guys, because of the screw up I did and the weird wonky things going on with YouTube and Streamlabs connection right now. When you guys actually type and put something into the chat, it's actually being seen on the other side, which usually doesn't happen, but it's happening now. So just keep in mind what you put in the chat because it's being broadcast. Okay. Of course, I shouldn't have said that because George will take advantage of it and say all kind of horrible things. Won't you,
Oh, that's
George?
George.
What? No, of course not.
Mm-hmm.
Chester is crazy. See?
Yeah.
Anyway, but of course we're also joined by the mighty oily holdy one, Thundero. What's up, dude?
I like how my name has gone from the Lord of Thunder, the Lord of Lightning, the great and mighty Lord of Lightning, to now I just hold oily things.
Yeah, yeah. It's not. It's a promotion though.
Oh, is it? Is it?
Mm.
Oh, okay. I am spectacular. I apparently made it just in time, since you were 1 minute late, I was told.
Well, Joshua always claims that. It can't be proven. But
Watch
yeah,
Joshua.
I had a bit
Joshua.
of chaos this morning. I screwed up because we had to have a trailer we want to play today, but I didn't have my VPN on. I was just kind of living in Japan, right? And but the trailer or the YouTube trailer said we cannot play in your region of the world. I mean, you won't play in your country. So I was like, oh yeah, you can't beat me. And I turned my VPN on, and then of course I could watch it. But the problem is Streamlabs and YouTube's had a conniption fit. So
Yeah.
everything is wonky today, but it's okay. It's all good. We need to have big go screw ups every now and then. Hey, Manny's in here, dude. I haven't talked to Manny in forever, dude. K Blonde is in here as well. Nice to see you, dude. Um, uh, yeah, awesome. I saw Jimmy was in here. Jimmy Ortiz was in here yesterday too. That was really cool. But nevertheless, Pope is trying to get a couple of guests in for us today, which is really cool of her. Thank you very much.
Yeah, one of them has not responded back to me. I talked to him yesterday, but the other one should be here as soon as he finishes eating. So
Oh, no problem. We got plenty of things we can do. But of course, the first thing we want to do now that we've got that all kind of set up and working kind of, I want to come back over the other side here, and I of course want to get into the chairman's address. We didn't have one last week, but we're going to have one this week, aren't we, Chairman? Yes, we are. Sweet.
Yes. As a matter of fact, it actually fits well into the fact that I had something to do last week and I wasn't here because it's not about you, but it takes you. You see, it's not about me, but it takes me. The important part here is that this applies not only to comics and the greater media, but also to every part of your life. You can keep that in the back of your mind. But as far as comics go, it definitely does. We see that happening all across the whole landscape of comics, right? Because it doesn't just take that artist. It's not about that artist, but it takes. And of course, there's also writers involved, but it's not all about the writer. It takes the writer, though. We just got through having our campaign for Tales from Beyond the Gate. And of course, the driving force behind that was John Dillard. And it wasn't about John Dillard, but it took John Dillard. And I can keep on going, of course. It's not about Ethan, but it takes Ethan. It's not about any of the creators. It's not about CB Cebulski, but it takes CB Cebulski. And that of course continues on, not just for creators, because you can be a creator and you can be the sole creator, the artist and the writer even. But it's not about that creator, but it takes that creator. Why? Because there is a whole group of people known as fans and backers. And when you have them out there, they're special, of course. They're involved in the whole movement. But it's not about the fan, it's not about the backer, but it takes the backer. And for someone to come out at any point and say, hey, this isn't about you, and they start targeting somebody, as soon as someone says it's not about you, then of course what they're doing is making it about themselves. And of course, if you make it about yourself, that's wrong, obviously, here, because it's not about you, but it takes you. And we see this very poignantly recently in Brie Larson, unfortunately. With Brie Larson, you say, hey, it's not about you. For her, she says, yes, it is about me. And we see what happens. There's all this certain types of problems and issues that come along with that, because she wants that to be about her, and it's not about her, but it does take her, unfortunately, still. So also then, with all of that, it does take each and every one of us. And that's what this movement takes. And that's what we've learned recently, that it's not about you, but it takes you. Every person's involvement. And we appreciate your involvement, because it's not about Chester. Though we need Chester, it takes Chester. It's not about Booster, but it takes Booster. And that's what's important in every single stream and every single comic that comes out. It's not about that person, but it takes them. So continue to get involved, because we need you. And matter of fact, even the best people out there, Gary Shippen is a prime example, where the backer and the fan, it's not about them, in that, and then that point right there is a huge one, because in that regard, with all of the hundreds and thousands of backers that are out there, it's not about that one person, but the smart creator. What he does is he says, yes, it does. It's all about you, the individual, and they make that individual think that it's about them, and in that regard, they become very successful in what they're doing, and we appreciate it. So, in that, of course, it's just what I'm saying. What are the fans saying? And welcome to FanSpeak, because it takes us all. Thank you.
Inspiring.
Oh,
Inspiring.
right.
All right.
You lost me like at the beginning. So
Yeah, a little bit.
yeah, yeah.
Exactly.
I'm just gonna clap
Yeah,
and just
claps.
okay,
Claps.
okay, okay.
Claps. Claps. What I did understand, what I took from all of that, DeWolf, was that I am not important. I got it.
That is true.
That is
You're not
true.
important.
I am not. Yeah. So, especially today. Well, that's what I get for moving to San Francisco, right? And my VPN's in San Francisco because it's exactly where I would live. But nevertheless, uh, I think it's funny. It's my own little personal humor, right?
Oh, there's so many levels of joke I can make, but none of them are appropriate.
Yeah. Well, no, I thought
Hmm.
it was funny because I could pick anywhere in America if I wanted for my VPN to the states anyway. But I choose San Francisco because it's funny. Chicken Synthesis says, "Hey, hey." Well, hello to you, and thank you very much, Chairman. We always like to hear
isn't
your words of wisdom, dude.
isn't using a VPN kind of backdooring your way into the internet?
I don't know. It's not illegal.
Oh, never mind.
Yeah.
Thunder.
Yeah, I mean, some countries it is, but it's not where I live. It's not in America. But it's extremely useful for me. Am I supposed to keep that secret, Thundero? Am I doxing myself?
No, not at all.
Yeah, yeah.
You're missing an obvious joke because you said San Francisco and you're a bear and backdoor.
Yeah. No,
Okay,
I'm not
so
missing it. I'm just not biting. All right. It takes a village,
Oh boy.
Hillary Clinton. Well,
oh, but it's San Francisco.
Manny,
Uh,
it takes a village, Hillary Clinton. She doesn't get to own that. Do you know how old that comment, that phrase is? Hillary Clinton doesn't get to own that. Anyway,
And if
so
somebody knows old phrases, it's going to be Chester.
that's true. Chester knows the old
right.
stuff. It's my job. Ah, baby. No comment. All right.
Yes.
All right. Let's go over and let's take a look at a couple pieces of news. I know we do have a guest that's going to be coming in here eventually, but until then, we're going to go ahead and look at stuff. Popefire says San Francisco is just like Hillary Clinton. The more you stay around it, the scarier it
You,
gets. Yes, San
you weren't
Francisco.
supposed to read that.
Why? Why? Why?
You weren't supposed to read it.
All right. Well, I am going to start off with a little bit of sad news, though. Weird news. Let's just get right into it. Go ahead, Denali. Let me come over here and share with you guys. You can see it, but
Yeah.
this is sad and weird, and yeah, I don't know, man.
All right.
Go ahead.
So the Witcher actress, Mia
Let's see. I
Mia
guess.
Lucia Naylor dies at 16. She actually died April 7th, and they just published that.
Mm,
What was so far reported about this actress is that she had collapsed, but no further details of her death has been divulged. And I think she was going to play a series in the new Netflix Witcher one.
yeah. Well, first of all, condolences to the family, and Godspeed. It's 16 to die at 16, whatever the reasons, is ridiculous. Especially a young girl who's starting out a career and hopefully would have some success, etc., etc. This is horrible news. Horrible, horrible. But it also kind of touches on the weirdness of The Witcher that's going on because, The Witcher is set in Eastern Europe. I mean, it's a Slavic story, right? And it's created by
Right.
Slavic people. And in one thing we don't really understand about it is the Witcher is like one of the biggest TV shows they have over in whatever country that is. What is it, Czechoslovakia or
Poland.
Poland? Is Poland? Poland.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's like the biggest TV show they got, the show they got. It's part of their actual culture. We just see The Witcher as a video game, but for them, it's a big deal, right? And
Yeah.
the fact that they came out and they had to have one of every color when it's a Polish story, for goodness sake. Everyone was kind of like balking at it, and it's like, what the hell are you doing, but this is coming out of right field, and it's like, damn, dude. It's really sad news, but it's also kind of lighting putting a light on the Witcher situation, which is odd, right? Because it's get woke
Mhm.
go broke situation. They're killing themselves before they even start, right? The Polish people are not happy about what they're doing at all. They're literally protesting it, right? But
Oh, that's
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah, so this is yeah, I don't know what to say. Anybody got any comments on this?
I don't know. I don't
Strange.
know what. Yeah, it's just strange. She just collapsed. They're not releasing any information about it. If it's a heart attack, if it's what actually occurred, and she may. I guess it's because she's 60 and underage, so it really depends on what the family wants to do.
Of
And I'm pretty
course,
sure. I'm
yeah,
pretty sure it's the family that's kind of keeping it down low
and I don't
at this
blame them
time.
for doing that. She's a young girl.
Did she
Right.
did she collapse on set or at home or something?
We don't know, dude.
Yeah, it doesn't say where she collapsed, only that she had collapsed.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
that's
it's horrible
terrible.
news, but it's also caught in the middle of the controversy of the Witcher thing, and but anyway,
Mhm.
condolences to the family because it is
Oh
horrible
yeah.
for such a young person to pass away like that. It's just ridiculous. I actually remember when I was in school, we had a few deaths in high school, and they were just shockingly tragic the way they happened. And of course, now with me, as I kind of said, I don't know, some odd weeks ago, my last childhood friend died. I had a group of 7 of us, and it's actually a bigger group than that, and they're all dead. I'm the only one alive, and it's weird because
Ooh.
I'm only 48. I'm not that old. You know what I mean? But I'm the last one. But we definitely had a few people dying when we were in high school. Did you guys have any deaths in high school?
Suicides.
Yeah, we
We
had a
had a
couple of
handful of
those too.
suicides.
Yeah, it is
Yeah, we
tragic.
had two, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's weird. I mean, I guess you can't really get through high school without experience some kind of death. It seems from other conversations I've had with other people. But yeah, I don't know. Let's move on to something happier. But definitely condolences on this situation. It's horrible.
Right.
She's a beautiful young girl too.
Hmm.
Anyway, what is this one? Oh, this one's
So
awesome.
yeah. So we're moving to the political realm with Carl Sagan of uh, what is it?
Sargon
Arcad?
of Akkad, Carl Benjamin. Yes.
Yeah, Carl Benjamin is going to run for a seat in the European Parliament
Hmm.
in the UK
That's awesome.
specifically.
Yep.
So
Good job.
Yeah, it's awesome. Carl Benjamin, or of course Sargon of Akkad, is one of my favorite YouTubers. I've been watching him for years. I think I've been watching him since he started, actually, pretty much from the beginning. I found him, and he's become this mega huge. I don't know how many subs he's got, but on his YouTube, but his influence goes way beyond YouTube. This guy's all over the place. He's actually part of UKIP now, and he's like the face of UKIP. Actually, he's become with him and Count Dankula, which is weird, right? I mean, you get these
right,
weird YouTuber guys but they have become quite important politically. And of course, we know the absolute nonsense that is going on with the EU Parliament, and they're just a bunch of tyrants, right? And of
Look,
course, he wants to fight against that. So good on you, Carl, man.
well,
yeah.
I think I
Speaking of
mhm.
tyrant, look at this. Look at this. He's becoming mainstream, right?
Hmm.
He's not a fringe voice. No, he's not a fringe voice. But no, that's because what you people don't understand is the mainstream is just chilling. The regular people, the mass are just chilling. They're doing their own thing. And so you only think it's the fringe because there's only one or two of them speaking up, like him, for instance. But of course, once he speaks up, and then all the backers and people say, "Oh yeah, he's just like us," all of a sudden, well, that's the mainstream. Yeah, they have an awakening coming.
They do,
Right,
and it's going to get bigger and bigger. And do keep in mind, this article is from the Vice. Now, Vice is an absolute toxic SJW progressive site, 100%. It is
I caught that.
constant
hmm,
propaganda. So I haven't even bothered to read this article because I know exactly what's going to say. Matter of fact, this little content warning kind of tells you everything you need to know. This piece includes racist language and references to rape threats. Right? Nonsense.
Wow.
I've been
right,
Oh
watching Carl for
my.
years, years and years. I've been watching Carl. This is a very sound-minded, rather intelligent guy. I'm not saying he's the most super intelligent guy in the world, but he's absolutely got everything under his feet. He knows what he's
Thank you.
talking about and he's passionate about it. This is a good person, actually, not a bad one. And I think him getting involved and I think he has a good chance to win. And causing trouble, I think, is a good thing. It's like Nigel Farage. He was a big troublemaker too, right? Understand where this is coming from, though. This is the Vice, and do not believe anything they say because they are nasty, nasty.
Yeah.
These guys are in the
I,
same group as like Mary Sue and those kind of things, right? The Guardian, crap, absolute crap.
I say do this. If you're out there and you just pay attention to your city council, what's going on, see when the next election is. For city elections, all you got to do is usually sign your name. There's not putting money down. You may need some signatures. Go get those. And when you go up to the state level, it might be a couple of $100. Do it. Anyone, go ahead, go out there. This is a great idea. Become
Mhm,
more involved.
mhm,
Run for office. I've been there. I still pay attention to what's going on.
mhm.
Might be running myself or backing people that are running. Walk around, put signs out for people. Get behind and support.
Yeah.
We know you can support people because you support the so-called gates that are out there.
Well,
So support your local politicians as well.
well, the problem is the majority of us, the mainstream, we're too busy living life to pay attention to this crap. But it's become so
That's
bad that
true.
we have to get involved now. It's like, damn it, you gotta pay attention now. I gotta get off. I gotta do something else. I gotta take some of my time
Yeah.
and go and fix it. And that's what it really comes down to, because the majority of us are having families, kids. We're making reality work, right? And
Yep.
we have to now get involved because that's how bad it's gotten, right? And that's kind of where Carl is, because trust me, I've been watching this dude years, and I think many of us probably know who he is. But this guy had no interest in getting in politics whatsoever. He's a Gamergate guy. But it's just gotten so bad. He feels that he has to put his hat in the ring because something needs to be done because these people are out of control. And I wish him nothing but success. I can't vote for him, but I can give him well wishes. That's for sure.
A wink and a nod.
Well,
Absolutely.
just imagine if he does get into office, though, the amount of potential that brings up for other people as well.
It does. And the interesting thing about that, you would say no way off the top of the hat. If we were talking just a few years ago, we were like, "Now what? No way."
Yeah,
But this dude, when he
yeah.
came out and supported UKIP because of the nonsense that was going on, it was a bit of a lark, kind of a joke actually, with him and Count Dacula, right? But he's actually
Mhm.
become a big important part of UKIP. And of course, we know UKIP has a lot of influence in Britain, and it's growing, especially dealing with that craziness with the Labor Party and all that nonsense that's going on. But he has a legitimate shot. It's not. This isn't a joke at all. So
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
In the '80s, we all knew that an actor wouldn't make it.
yeah,
Now we knew that a real estate tycoon wouldn't make it. So I'm sure a YouTube personality can't make it either.
right. Yeah. No, I think it's awesome. I think it's very awesome. I do see a few things in here that is really interesting comments here. Chicken Sis says it takes a township. Chester Busby. Did I say that? It takes yon township. I didn't. I don't think I said that, but I'll keep it though. Thank you. Sammy Guy says TFT assassinated. What? No way. Ain't no assassinating going TFT. That's my favorite. I love TFT.
no,
Chester's
no,
only
no,
48. No, he meant 480. Thanks, Pope.
no. The assassination part was that he tinfoil hat is at in poor taste. I think that the girl was assassinated. I think that was alluding to that because of what
Oh, I
happened.
see. Talk about the girl. Oh, yeah. That's not necessary. I think
Yeah,
that's a really. It's not that extreme. Which it's just a TV show. But yeah, no, that's a really sad story with this girl. We've had weird stories starting off today. We talk about the unfortunate death of a 16-year-old girl. How horrible is that? And then we're talking about Carl Benjamin getting into politics. That's hilarious, dude. Can I
yeah.
introduce I Love Comics? You most certainly can. Have they joined us?
I
They
have.
have joined us.
Hey,
He is here
hey.
right now. He's been so patient.
All right.
Now I do have a quick comment right before I introduce him.
Mm-hmm.
This man believes that Donna Troy would lose or would actually beat Starfire in a fight, and I would like to say that it's incorrect. I've been waiting very long to say that to him. on a stream, so I'm just glad I finally got the chance to. Thank you so much for being on here this week. Welcome to FanSpeak.
Hello. How's it going?
Hello.
Yeah.
It's pretty
Really
good.
How you doing, dude? I haven't talked to you in a little bit.
I am peachy keen. I was in the middle of. I've been so lazy today. I didn't make a video, and I'm now trying to make 2 at once, which is always goes well.
What are you putting together?
That's a lot of fun. I am doing a comic book origins. If you look on the channel, I always go to the first appearance of a comic book character. I like to go through the comic, maybe joke about it a little bit if necessary, or just kind of let everybody know what happens. It's a lot of fun. You read up on a whole bunch of different heroes. So I'm doing that for tonight. I want to get that out before midnight tonight. And that's going to be on Nubia, Wonder Woman, black twin sister.
Oh,
and then I'm trying to do a top 10 costumes and cosplayers, because those tend to be a lot of fun so long as they're women. The guy videos don't do as far as those are concerned.
yeah,
But
I imagine, right? Right?
Yeah, and I'm doing that. And this is going to make somebody angry if I don't invite her on Starfire.
Oh,
so
right.
Yeah, I wonder whoever could you have on for the Starfire one.
I would love to figure out a way for you and I to collaborate on this this video, because it's not a live stream, it's a video, or we could do a live stream where you and I get together on a hangout privately and hash out what's the worst to best costume, and then just go through them all.
I have a lot to say on that, so I'm very much looking forward to that.
We could do it as a live stream. I would very much insist on it being topical, because if you've ever seen my live streams, they are chaos. It's like, here's our topic today. It doesn't matter. That's kind of how it is. And
it sounds like
tough.
mine.
It's tough to hold things down. That's for sure. Your camera is weird. You got your camera on, but it's showing a dead field. I don't know if you want to adjust that.
Yeah, I forgot. I forgot to turn it off. I put tape over it because I'm one of those paranoid people who believe they are watching.
Oh, hey, well, we got a show on Sunday. It's called TFT, a Tinfoil Talk, and we talk about conspiracies every week. So if you want to come on and have a chat with us about that, you're more than welcome. We love that kind of stuff, dude. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself to the people real quick so they know who you are, man.
I'm Englentine. I'm one of the original 4 of the original Comicsgate. Comicsgate Phase 1 it's been dubbed now. A channel I Love Comics, where I talk about comic books and jump into the culture war when it calls for it. I'm not a reactionary. If I understand Gail Simone doesn't agree with us, so if she says something, it's got to be pretty egregious for me to jump on it. I'm not gonna, oh my gosh, she said this, and it's nothing. But I do like to talk about it when it seeps into the comic books themselves and so forth and so on. But mainly, I like dealing with the history of comics, comic books themselves, reviews and such. Right now, I just came into a little money, so I'm doing just these big reviews to find out what Marvel comics suck and what are good, and what DC comics. I just did one yesterday where I read almost 40 comic books from DC, to see, because everybody, it's a knee-jerk reaction now, and I'm not a big fan of knee-jerk reactions. I rather look at things and go, okay, is it really this way, or are we now just programming ourselves?
Good point.
Yeah.
But you do have to come into a little bit of money to buy a lot of modern books, especially in
because I got the live stream ban, and I wasn't able to buy comics for like 3 months and because I used to do, and I will be doing this week as well, Marvel versus DC comic book videos, where I would take 10 or 15 from each company and just see who wins the week, of their big titles. I couldn't do it, because lives that's a huge chunk of income there, and it is just too damned expensive now.
So what's your thoughts about the recent event that Marvel's doing, the Wars of Realm, with the $5.99 covers.
Just now picked it up. I haven't had a chance to read it, but it's not just me. It's me, my brother, my nephews, some friends. We get together and I'll buy 10, they'll buy 10, and we'll put them on together. We just bought 70 Marvel comic books to read and review. This is going to be a long freaking video. But here's my thought on it. But while it was building up, I don't care. I don't care. I cannot care about this. I want to care. I want to look at whatever Marvel's doing and go, oh, wow, that looks so cool. But I don't care. And from what I've heard and what I've seen from the comic book shops, a lot of people are just on the same page.
And that's exactly that I've been getting the vibe of. Nobody's really talking about that event. Nobody really cares about it. The comment that I get mostly from everybody about those books are, oh, it's $5.99 a title.
Ugh.
And
yeah,
that's about it. And I think it's passing. And I think I'll probably be reaching out to my local comic book shops and talking about, are they ordering those stuff or how much they're selling it? Because I think a lot of comic book shops are kind of giving up on that title because their numbers are not looking good.
There a couple of months ago, there was an article by a guy who runs a comic shop here in Orlando. His name's Phil Boyle. I used to work for him long before you guys were born, about 30 years ago. And God, I'm freaking old. But he did this article where he was saying, hey, look, Marvel, you're screwing us over. And he talks about the entire comic book industry, but mainly he hits Marvel because of their predatorial practices, as he puts it. The fact that if you want this variant, you have to buy 25 extra copies of a book you can't sell 25 copies of anyway. And so he said, here's the thing, there's going to be a lot of Marvel comics now that I will not order unless somebody asks me to, unless somebody puts it on their pull sheet. A lot of comic book companies, or comic book shops will buy one or two of everything just to put on the shelf to drive in, but you can't do that with Marvel anymore. Okay. Do you mind if I rant for a little bit?
No, go ahead.
Go ahead.
We do.
Okay. Like I said, I wanted to do this thing. And mainly it's like I'm making a video to catch up on my comic book reading. These are basically what these are. So I said to my brothers, my nephew, so forth. Okay, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna buy last month's comics. From 4 weeks. That's what we're gonna go for. So from March 13th, bought all the DC, and then we're going to go out and we're going to do the same with Marvel. But Marvel put out so many things, like over 100 comics. I said, okay, first of all, we're going to get rid of, we got to cut out anything that's a reprint. So True Believer books, Marvel Tales books, and so forth out. And then we found, shit, it's still up to 90. Gosh darn. Okay, movie tie-ins, that kind of stuff, we got to cut out. Okay, now we're down to 85. All righty then. How about if we take away anything that I know that I'm going to be already prejudiced towards? Okay, so we get rid of Moon Girl, get rid of Unbeatable Squirrel Girl, get rid of Unstoppable. Okay, now we're down to 83. We broke it down to 70 comics. And even still, I'm thinking, okay, you know what? Maybe we should cut out miniseries and one-shots, because with those alone, even when you take those out and you're still going to be down to $40, $50. They are saturating the market. They are oversaturating the market. They're putting out stuff that they're just putting out way too much product. And it's doing just that. It's oversaturating the market. Now, if you are a Star Wars fan and you're buying straight up Star Wars comics, and by the way, of all the things that Marvel does wrong, they do Star Wars right. You can get 10 or 12 books from Star Wars. And another thing that they're doing is they're putting out one-shots as first issues. Instead of saying it's a General Grievous one-shot, it's General Grievous #1.
Oh.
Or they'll title it. It'll be General Grievous Adventures on Name the Star Wars Planet. I'm a movie guy, not a book guy. But and then it'll be the next General Grievous. General Grievous #1. Adventures on blah blah blah.
Dathomir.
Yeah. And they're really trying to fool the reader into thinking that these are things that they should buy. They might miss it if they don't buy it. And it really is just harsh and bad practices from this particular company. And now the way I like to do it is read the books and just judge everything on the merit, not on the company itself, but how are the books. But it's hard to look past these practices sometimes when you notice that that they're really doing this to the reader. And a lot of readers, they don't notice. They really don't. They're not like us who are offended by what Marvel is doing.
Oh yeah.
But I think that is the original intent of what became Comicsgate, was to call out this bad behavior, to point out. And we had grown strong. We had brought in a lot of people just by starting to do that. I'm sorry for the rant, but there you go, guys. I've got on a passionate, just looking and doing this, it got me a little bit passionate about the subject.
Yeah. No,
See,
Yeah, that was the original intent on Comicsgate, to call out the bad practices
that's right.
of what comic book companies were, and not what Twitter is all about.
And we gotta, well, no, it's good that you said that, because we always want to remind ourselves why we came in there, because we get lost in the wood because of all these outrage, all this drama that's happening all over the place. We got to bring it back to the basic and remember why we joined, the movement, which is a consumer movement, to say, hey, let's call out the bad practices. We want this the comic industry to survive while pushing new content around. And that's been the mantra on this channel always. And to promote, upcoming creators, writers, telling them, it's not that hard to make a comic. It's just time and effort and a little bit of a cash, depending on how big the scope of your project is going to be. But it's doable. If you plan it right, it's doable. So a lot of the comics that been coming out, and go ahead, Pope.
Marvel actually was the reason the shop I used to I worked there for a little bit. I worked there. I'm sure the Wolf is actually, because he lived in the same town I did for a while. But I used to work at a comic book shop, and it was the Marvel practices, because they've been doing this stuff for years. But they were actually the reason why my shop closed down, because there was no possibility of ever selling those comics.
Well, I've been doing this countdown thing for almost 2 years now, and one thing that I would say about it is, while I do not like Marvel's practices, comic book shops have to protect themselves. Comic book shops
definitely
have to be able to look at them and go, no, I'm sorry, I do not need this book on my shelf. I'm not going to.
The first thing that Marvel did was they overstocked them, and they were charging them like the shipping prices for the boxes and stuff. So they would send them comics that even Marvel couldn't really get rid of, but they still pretty much had to pay for them. And it was books like Iceman, and I don't even remember the other books that were out at the time, but they weren't selling. And that really hurt my shop, because they really do sell Marvel the most. Marvel is the biggest comic, like it's the one that should always be on top. And it, unfortunately,
and one thing that really hits are things like War of Realms, because this is the big Marvel push. This is supposedly gets people excited, and it sold well. It made the top 10. So people they know they have to put it on the shelf. But what Marvel does is they say, well, if you want this, you have to buy so many of Moon Girl and the Dinosaur, or Double Dinosaur, excuse me, that kind of thing. And it's ridiculous.
On here. What you're saying is the comic book shop should be able to deny having to order and buy some of those books. You're saying they should be able to take the capitalistic venture and determine what capital they're going to keep on the shelf. But yet we know that the reality is that that's against the moral values. It's censorship, basically, in one sense of that. So it's censorship.
What I'm saying,
and if you're not going to take the moral high ground on that, then what you have to do is have the government come in or some regulation that says you have to buy Marvel.
No. Yeah, I would never say anything that would have the government coming in and saying anything. But
Englentine, that was sarcasm.
The liberals.
Dude.
Oh, okay. Sorry. What I was saying is the comic book shops need to cover their asses. They are protecting themselves before they are protecting Marvel Comics, or and like Phil Boyle said, if I have somebody who's going to want this issue, if they put it on their pull list, okay, I'm going to get it, but I'm not going to put 100 extra books on the shelf just in case 100 people want. And if you tell me that in order to get this variant cover, I've got to buy 25 copies of the freaking Exiles, then I'm not going to get it. Sorry, gang, but I talked to Gary one time, and he said I would rather go and buy it off of eBay and give it to somebody because I would end up spending a lot less money. And that's the kind of thing that comic shops need to do. They need to cover their own asses in order to stay open, in order to provide a service a lot longer for the customers they do have.
Yeah, this has been going on a long time, though, not just with Marvel, but also with Diamond Distributions. They're basically working together and thugging the stores into doing what they want them to do, and of course, it's killing it. We've literally lost thousands of comic book stores over the past decade, and it's ridiculous. Yeah.
Much like Michael Eisner, Diamond Comics came in, saved the industry, and then turned out to be more detrimental down the road.
What I said was absurd, and you jumped right on there, but that's my point because that is the mentality that we as consumers in this movement are faced off against daily.
Yeah, I just got done reading my comment section, so I'm used to the attack, and I was in attack mode, in defense mode.
Yeah, exactly.
No drama here, dude.
Yeah, I am all sorts of racist.
Yeah.
Oh, are you? That's good to know.
Apparently so. Well, on the other hand, some people see me as the wokest white boy on the face of the planet these days, so it's either way. Yeah.
That's what
so I do have a question. Like, I do have a question for you, though. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
And this is a question that I have to ask everybody. But who is your favorite Titan? And remember that there are wrong answers.
Who's my favorite Titan?
Teen Titan, yes.
Teen Titan. Let's see. Who's my favorite Teen Titan?
The right answer is Superboy.
The right answer is not Superboy.
Okay, guys, I'm freaking 50 years old. All right, you ask me who my favorite Teen Titan is. I go straight to Marv Wolfman and George Perez days because they're the ones that jumped me. They're the ones that jumped me in. Goodness gracious, who is my favorite?
He's taking this serious.
He is.
It's a serious. When you're a Marv Wolfman fan, yeah, it's a very serious question.
Because here's the thing. You've got somebody who represents dang near every walk of life in the Marv Wolfman days. You got somebody who has every power set in the Marv Wolfman days. I mean, Starfire sucked, but otherwise, everybody dead on.
Remove him from this stream.
Yeah. No,
I don't want him as my guest anymore.
You are welcome back anytime.
Here's the thing. Actually, it depends. There are a lot of times when each Titan had shown, but I've got to go with in the Marv Wolfman days, Robin. Robin was my favorite Teen Titan. If you want to talk about specific Teen Titans, oh my gosh, like not Robin because he's a character from Batman beforehand. I kind of always dug Cyborg. Tell you the truth.
I'm not alone. Okay, I thought I was the only Cyborg. Like everybody else is.
I don't like modern Cyborg as much as I liked.
Nobody does.
Yeah, modern Cyborg is God. He can do anything.
Well, no. What makes me mad about that is that he's only there for a token character. They ripped his character out. He doesn't have a personality. He doesn't have a character arc. He's just there to be a token.
They ruined him when they attached the mother box, in my opinion. Beforehand,
Oh yeah, that'll do it.
Beforehand,
Yeah,
he had
it'll do it.
limitations. This is something that I've noticed with the comic book superheroes in general these days, is they try to overpower them. The actually people seem to have gotten a hold of the pins, and actually, if he can do this, that means he could do that. No, not necessarily. Yeah, if he can create ice, that means he could become steam. No, it really just means he can create ice. They're just actualing these comic book superheroes into godhood, and they're all coming off like Golden Age Superman. Oh, well, he needs this power, and he's Superman, therefore he has super ventriloquism. Which is a real thing.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And they're doing that with modern superheroes, and I think, and this is just a theory, that it comes from writers being raised on comic books or manga.
Yep.
They haven't read the classics. They haven't read outside of their genre.
Well,
so
we've talked about that quite a bit on this show. Actually, one of the things that irks me the most that's going on in the with the big three is the fact that they're getting these people in who, first of all, are not talented, have not earned the position, but they're not doing the research. They're simply not doing their job, whether they be the writers or even the artist. They're not doing the job, and I don't understand where the professionalism has gone. Because if you give someone an opportunity to do, say, Superman, or to do even some little side character like a Gambit or something like that, you would think they would at least take the time to go and research and read everything that's been done on the character so they can be informed. But they do none of it. They have no clue what they're doing. And that is the biggest insult to me. It's not the fact that they're trying to push their political agenda and all their silliness. It's the fact that they're not taking it seriously. And I take it seriously because I love comic books too. And this is pissing me off.
Well,
sorry.
I was going to say, the way I see all the current writers for all these companies is just fan fiction that's been licensed officially.
But it's not even Denali, because they don't even know the product. They don't know the character. It's not fan fiction. Fan fiction is coming from a place of love.
He didn't say it was good fan fiction.
Yeah, I didn't say it was good fan fiction. I said this is the fan fiction where they just like the character. They saw like one episode and then they project whatever they want on it.
Oh, okay. So that's fantasy fiction. That's not fan fiction. That's fantasy fiction.
I think what you just said there, it can speak volumes, and I wouldn't doubt. You said one episode, not an issue. And that might be happening also. These kids who saw the 90s cartoon for X-Men decide they're going to write Gambit, and instead of learning about Gambit and who he is and what he does in the comics, they remember how they felt watching him in the cartoon, and they go off of that, rather than, of course, doing research. Like you say, they just flat out think they already know everything. Oh, let's go ahead and we'll do this. What is his power set? Well, I know he charges up things with kinetic energy and they explode, but I really need him to fly. So we're going to figure out a way for him to fly with this. And I need him to be able to blow up this planet. So we're going to, and they just do that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
A good example of that is Starfire, because that's exactly what they did with their solo series. They didn't take anything from her comics or her lore. It really was everything from the cartoon.
Yeah.
Did you?
By the way, Englentine, George here wants to get a word in edgewise, but just I think you probably insulted George because he's 102. So just so you know.
I beat all of you combined.
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah, no, Chester is actually 480 years old.
This is true.
So don't worry.
Go ahead, George.
He goes back to Mesopotamia. He talks about it often.
You can, regarding all these incompetent writers who are tasked for these brands, you can. There is a sliding scale that you can actually correlate with the internet, and that is. The more these hacks are entrenched in the internet, the more and more they need to get the job done. without spending a lot of effort. So everything right now on the internet is more of what do you call it? There's no research. It's
No, there isn't. Yeah.
who gets it out first.
Are you okay
That's
today, George? Are you okay? You seem a bit lethargic. Did you take your Viagra?
Ew.
So I want to take this and take this concept of writing and go back to this War of the Realms, because no one's interested in looking forward to it. And I think I can remember back to some of the things like Atlantis Attacks and Civil War, and they always, and the Spider-Man, the clone series. One thing that always made all those things mean something was because there was a lead up to it. Secret Empire, Secret Empire. That was
Secret War.
That's not what I meant to say.
Secret Wars.
Yeah.
Secret Wars. So there was a lead up to it, and we saw the characters, we saw movements of things happening, and in order to have movements of things happening, and then a big culmination of the storyline and the plot, and us get interested into it, also needed continuity. And so now when you have all these different titles and everything going on, there's no real continuity in the world and in the characters. So I'm no longer invested. And if I'm not invested, then I don't care if the realm of Asgard falls to pieces or any of their other realms, right?
Well, that's where they've been destroying the comic book industry through reboots. They want that number one because number ones get a boost.
Yeah.
But as it's been pointed out by wiser men than me, or actually the Phil Boyle article, number one issue is a great jumping on spot, but a last issue is a great jumping off.
Yeah. We've had some really good comments from comic book store owners and stuff as well in regards to the just absolute ridiculous flood of variant covers as well. That is killing us.
That's the 90s all over again.
Yeah.
It's I turned on a video I saw, Tom Comics or something like that, and they were talking about this thing CBSI, which tells you what comic books are hot at this moment, and they're all variant covers, and I'm like, that's false though.
It is.
It's a fake collector's item. Because it's created to be a collector's item. Take Batman Adventures number 12, the first comic book appearance of Harley Quinn. It came out, everybody ordered it as far as Batman Adventures is concerned. Nobody knew how she was going to do in comic book form. It wasn't overly inflated. There wasn't 50,000 variants or anything like that. It was just there. Then Harley Quinn ends up being a popular character in comic book form. Now people want that issue. It was not highly sought after when it was there. It didn't have 1 million issues printed. Well, actually, being a 90s book, it probably did. But point being is that it was natural. People were searching for it because of their excitement for the character, not because it's 1 in 50 and man, we have to get those 1 in 50s. Now, granted, there's a rarity to these things, but if you don't have, you could only have 50 copies of a certain comic book, but if only 50 people are looking for it, who cares?
Yeah, and it's the same nonsense they did back in the 90s where they were creating fake collectability. And of course, that in the end imploded the industry. And they're doing the same thing now, except for the problem is they're not seeing the problem and stopping, which they did, back then to try to save it. They just keep driving it home because, hey, we know better than you do, and it's going to work. And they keep doing it, and they basically driven to the point that we've covered news articles here on this show where there's actual rumors floating around that Marvel's going to close its door, Disney's going to close Marvel down and just simply outsource it, and that's not a joke. That's ridiculous. That is not what we want to happen.
No, the comic shop that is now the vomitorium of Marvel and DC.
It does seem that way.
It does. Yeah.
Sometimes, but then again, the smarter comic book shops are acting and reacting accordingly. They're getting more into pops. They're getting more into manga. They're getting more into the gaming.
I'm gonna say something real quick about Funko Pops. They're not in a great spot either. They're not selling as well as they used to because it's being oversaturated as well.
Yeah, I can see that.
Really, the only thing that sells for Pops now is, of course, if they have stickers on them.
I just don't know why you
okay.
would buy one of those things anyway. I don't get it.
Because action figures are expensive now. It's $30 for one action figure.
Action
Funko
figures are
Pops
miniature
$10.
action figures statuettes anymore. They're not like they were when I was a kid, or I guess George as well, playing with them, and you actually played with your action figures. Nowadays, they're statuettes. I like them. Give me a $40 Doctor Strange that looks good on the shelf. That's fine because I don't play with them anymore. But yeah, you're absolutely right. Funko Pops. But how do you play with a Funko Pop?
They're affordable. They're affordable collectible items.
I understand Funko Pops, but yeah, no, I remember when action figures were actually fun. I remember actually when I was really young, I got a actual card back, and they said that eventually when we make this, you can turn this in and get a Star Wars action figure. That was cool.
What, are you that old?
Yes,
are you 50?
That's kind of the way
good.
That was my sideways saying we're the same age, dude. Yeah.
Toast to the 50-year-olds. Rock on. All right. Yeah, I remember that card as well. I wish I kept that card as much as I could have waited for the action figures. Now I wish I kept that card. But no, I turned that shit in. I remember going to see Empire Strikes Back. I had on at Christmas time. It might have been a re-release. I couldn't tell you when it was released, but I remember going to see it. And I had all my action figures in my hand, and I dropped C-3PO. God damn it!
Question.
What?
Yeah, I lost my C-3PO.
A question to the 50-year-olds. Do you guys have the Darth Vader Kenner with the extending lightsaber?
Absolutely. No. You better believe it.
Oh, I did. Yeah.
Dude. That is worth so much money. You can buy a couple of houses with it.
Why would I want to sell it? I mean, come on.
I actually answered that question. I don't have a lot of my collector's items anymore because I sold it and went and lived in Thailand for a while.
No.
I had a lot of fun on my midlife crisis.
I haven't had one of those yet. I don't know. I think I will, but who knows? No, actually, out of that whole original collection, the one I liked the best, I can't remember his name, but there was a dude who had a big old long curly neck and had like a flat head coming up the top of the curl. Some kind of alien. I can't remember his name, but he had like an L-shaped
Hammerhead.
Neck. I don't know what his name was, but that was my favorite actually. I don't know why.
Hammerhead.
It sounds like Hammerhead.
All right, well there you go, Hammerhead. But I love that one.
Yeah, you know what? I was never the guy though with the AT-AT and the Millennium Falcon and all that. I had a friend whose parents always got him the big play sets and the spaceships. I was so jealous.
Sure.
I hated those friends.
Well, I had Legos, so I made my own.
Well, it's kind of cool that you guys are talking about that. This old stuff that's from your childhood still holds up, and it's kind of a shame what's happening with the current iteration of Star Wars with the whole no planning, throwing out, basically just makes the whole prequel look good. And yes, Starfire, we know that you love the prequel. I also enjoy the prequel as well, but it wasn't as good as the original.
Oh no, I'm not arguing that. I'm just saying that like I liked the prequels when I was a kid. I wouldn't watch them now because I'm an adult now. But when I was a kid, I thought they were pretty fun.
That's what they're made for.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm going to be honest with you. I work with kids. I volunteer with kids. I don't have one kid I volunteer with that likes Star Wars.
Oh wow, that's not good. Scott
it's
says
not, especially since most of them are boys.
No, yeah. Scott says I have a 14-inch Chewbacca. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know how much
that sounds personal, Scott.
It does. But
and
I did have one of the original GI Joes I used to play with all the time, and that was like I don't know.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
With the pump action muscle thing.
That's right. Yeah.
And we do have another guest.
We do. We got a wand pool in here. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, what's up, dude?
Not much. I would like to just creep and wait for people to notice me.
Oh, I noticed. How can I miss a pink-purple wand pool? It's impossible.
Fabulous.
Yeah.
Oh no, absolutely fabulous. You have no idea.
Oh my god. No. How you doing, dude?
Not bad. Yeah, not bad actually. I don't have any complaints.
That's good. Why don't you introduce yourself to the folks, man?
In case no one knows who I am Troy Mr. Marvel Torres. owner and creator of Quampool, the world's first bisexual, body positive Hispanic superhero lead. And I like to make fun of things. And I like to draw funny stuff. And if you know me, it's probably because I pissed off people and you started following me. That's usually what.
No. Credius actually told me to go check you out. Actually.
Nice.
Yeah.
And he's also the one who caused Tim Lim to rewrite his All Might sequel because he used all the jokes that they were going to use as well.
I swear I didn't do that on purpose.
Likely story.
No, I mean, so we were acquaintances, like when for a while, and I'd say right now is when I'd actually consider us good enough friends that I would be able to know a future storyline. You know what I mean? Before that, I was just a big fan of his. Huge inspiration. If I got a name, if I have to title him as anything, he's one of the big inspirations for, me turning Wampool into like a parody story.
I see.
Oh, good deal.
Oh, that's cool. Actually, let me go see if I can't get Tim in here.
Yeah, I love Tim. He did a Starfire for me. He's so cool.
He drew for me. He drew an Alfred Hitchcock and an Ethan Van Sciver as Ego, the Living Planet.
Yeah.
Oh.
All right.
Some people might not
I'm
know
going to be
this.
laughing for a lot longer than I probably should.
So Wampool's actual first comic debut was not Wampool. It was Black Ops 2.
I think I knew that.
Yeah, you can find one of his comic books in the Korean camps. Apparently, the Koreans are a big fan of his stories. So that's a fun fact. Wampool actually debuted in the Tim Lim book, much like Regina did from Rags.
That is so cool to see creators, working together like that, throwing each other little bones and stuff. And we've been talking about that for a while ourselves, and seeing the collaboration going on more so than the silo effect. Yeah, that's awesome to see.
Yeah, I'd love to see more and more of it, especially because you can consider us like the Renaissance creators for this, like the new golden age of comics. I mean, definitely I try my best to work with as many people as I can. Obviously, egos get in the way, and there's nothing you could do about it. But I try to spread myself out as much to as many projects and as many people as I can.
Yeah, that's a good idea, dude.
And we've used that term Renaissance here before. I think I'm not sure if we used revolution, but we definitely used Renaissance and talking about how.
We decided on revival.
Revival is actually probably the most accurate.
Yeah,
revival. Yeah.
And we also use reconstruction as well, because we're tired of the deconstruction. We're going to reconstruct everything.
That's true. Yeah.
Oh, I agree with you. I'm tired of the deconstruction. I just want to see a hero facing off against his personal demons and rising above and saving the day.
Sure, the hero's journey, right?
Yeah, I want to see the hero, and not necessarily rehashing the same hero's journey, but I mean, even if that's why, I mean, I'm almost completely indie comics now. I don't really get into mainstream because I just feel like these characters have been around for so long that you have to undo their history to do anything new with them, and I'm not really into that. I like to preserve character. Even if we're never gonna hear new adventures, I'd rather preserve the history of a known character than to have to start retconning it just so that you can keep it fresh.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's the weakness of the modern day writers, because they don't understand a way to make it fresh without destroying the character, without actually turning the character into a caricature of what they used to be, or betraying the character of a superhero.
But what we haven't seen is actually them writing a character that ages. And you don't have to age a year per year, right? Just over time, add some age to him over time, and you can actually have someone, because look at us, right? So we've aged, And if you want to connect with us, have Batman, Spider-Man. Spider-Man aged a little bit over the years up into the 90s, but then now, for instance, when I'm seeing Colossus, they're younger. They're drawing them younger and younger still.
Yeah.
Draw them older. Have Batman actually retire. Have him now sitting back, the man in the chair, orchestrating things, training other heroes, and have actual Bruce Wayne retire. And that would be interesting to see a lot of the. Imagine all these heroes that we have seen through the 90s. Have them retire, some of them die, and bring on new ones, and that would be interesting.
Batman Beyond, right? But
Oh.
Peter
Batman
has
Beyond
had
is probably one of my favorite ones so
It
far.
is cool, but Batman Beyond. I mean, so
Yeah, it's a
Peter
good
Parker
book.
has had a progression of sorts, right? He's gone from cool to cuck, so you know.
I blame one more day.
The Wolf.
I mean,
Hold on a sec. The Wolf. What you said is something interesting. Imagine a concept where you actually have your superheroes. You start off doing your superheroes, like Spider-Man, whatever, and then every year you de-age them without actually telling the audience. So in 7 years, you go from a Peter Parker that's 18 years old to a Peter Parker that's 12.
That's weird. That'd be like a power that they would have almost. Yeah.
Weird thing is, Stan Lee aged Spider-Man pretty quickly. He got him out of high school within what? I think it was the first 50 issues.
Yeah.
By the end of the first 50, he was in college already. So Stan Lee wasn't afraid of aging Peter Parker, but in modern day, it seems he's in arrested development. Any progress he makes immediately gets wiped away.
Oh, come on, guys. The Simpsons is the gold standard of not aging your characters, but keeping them in contemporary form.
Yes.
Yeah. There's a reason for that.
And you notice how nobody's watching The Simpsons at the moment.
Right.
As well.
I watch Simpsons.
See ya?
Yeah.
I used to watch it with my kids, but it's been a while.
Okay, well, what about South Park then?
I don't watch it anymore.
Yep.
They do age, just not as quickly as the other other TV shows and stuff. But they do age because they went from second to third graders to fourth graders.
Yeah, and they do keep progression. You know what I mean? Like something that happens in an episode of South Park is canon and remains that way for the rest of the series' existence.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Even Kenny coming back was justified as his parents were part of the cult of Cthulhu.
Yeah.
You know?
You're right. And Spider-Man was one of the few where you saw that character actually go through that aging process. And here's the thing that it did. It made more stories and it made his life actually interesting to keep watching and see the nerd marry the hot chick, you know. But you don't see that rarely. I'm not sure if there's any other characters that really have seen that with, except for like these one-shot things, right? Where you're talking about Batman did.
I mean, Dick Grayson, I guess, because they don't retcon him as Robin anymore.
That's true. Yep. Dick, yeah.
Well,
but it's still arrested. You don't see it on a big scale.
Right. Because
we did a live stream about characters who had changed, and one of the questions that was put to us, because we were doing like an improvisational Thunderdome, and it was put to us, what character has changed and stayed changed? And my answer was Green Arrow from from the Longbow Hunters. He's the only one who has not gone back to the goofy arrows and the silliness that he was before. After that, after Black Canary got struck, that's when his character completely changed. I think he's the only character that really has, for the last 30 years, with the change that was made to him.
Well, the TV show helped to keep it that way, I think, at least in modern times, because they want to do that gritty, realistic thing with that, and that was quite a popular show, even though I thought it kind of sucked after season 1. But I think that has part of it. But I get what you're saying as far as characters that have changed and stay changed. The problem is the characters are changing all the time these days, but they're just changing in weird ways. They actually brought Jean Grey back, and she's an absolutely just bitch on heels, bitch and heels, right? She's nasty. She invades
Oh, yeah.
people's minds without even thinking about it. And of course, those of us who actually read the original X-Men, we know right well that's not Jean Grey. She was super
No,
sweet.
not
She was
at all.
too sweet.
Mm-hmm.
And they've made her this nasty, just destructive, villainous thing. And this is the thing, it kills me. A lot of these characters they make because they have to make their point of how strong and you go girl crap, they make them villains. I mean, when Richard Meyer was doing that whole series about Riri Williams would be a better villain, that was brilliant on his part because she is a villainess. I mean, she's villainous. And
100%.
a lot of them are like that. It sucks.
It's really simple. It's because these people know they're not the heroes of their own stories. They don't even they know they're the bad guys of reality. They don't consciously admit it to themselves, but deep down subconsciously this is why they can't write heroes. They're incapable of doing it. They don't understand the idea of struggling to obtain a goal, of struggling, overcoming your own adversity to become that hero. They don't get that because they've never had to do it, and because deep down inside they know they're wrong the way they behave.
I have no inner demons.
Mm-hmm.
But because they moral high ground everything.
So,
and they're little authoritarians. They're little totalitarians. So in their view, you have to remember, to them, the hero is the person that comes and censors people. To them, the hero is the person that deplatforms people and takes them away and punches Nazis and stops fascism. So they can't.
Are you saying you like Nazis?
Hero. Well, who, me? Yeah, they're one of the best villains you could ever put as like just a filler. You know, if you need to go up against somebody,
Nazis are awesome.
Put them up against Nazis.
That's right. That's
you
right.
know?
Yeah. You know, the funny thing about that, I know we don't want to get into a sideways political conversation, but the thing is just incredibly ironic and humorous about the whole thing is they are the ones that are being very fascistic.
Yep. Oh, 100%.
Well, that's why their only villains are Nazis, because by comic book standards, they kind of are the villains. Like,
well, sure they are. They've always been.
And
well, the reason why they default to the Nazis as being their go-to villain is because they are Marxists.
They are. Yeah.
They have a way of looking at villains, and of course we all know that the villains who think they're right and have an argument are the better ones, but they try to look at the villain side, and in doing so they've destroyed many of the great comic book supervillains. They're not the bad guys anymore.
Yep, that's true.
They're not. Dr. Doom was a freaking hero for a while. Dr. freaking Doom.
Yep.
Dr. Doom is the only
superior Spider-Man
character that can match the Joker for charisma, as far as villain.
Oh yeah. Hold on a sec. Regarding Dr. Doom, he was a hero to his people. He was a villain to everybody else.
Yes,
like Hitler.
Yeah, but
that's one of the things that made him an interesting villain. But he was still a villain.
Yeah.
But no, the point is they're sympathetic villains, right? Is what they're doing. And like for instance, this Joaquin Phoenix has a new Joker movie coming out, right? And we see that trailer, and they're making Joker a sympathetic villain, and we don't want that. Joker is this maniacal, crazy thing that just wants to have some fun, and in his wake, death and destruction comes. That is the Joker. I don't want to sympathize with the Joker. What the hell, right? But that's what they're doing.
I'm willing to give it the benefit.
You always are willing to give it the benefit.
Yeah, I am.
I'm willing to give Joaquin Phoenix the benefit of the doubt because he's a fantastic actor. Yeah, so I think he's going to pull something out of, even if it's a bad script, he's going to pull something out of it.
Do you want a Joker origin story, Thundero?
No. You know I don't. You know I don't even want. I don't want to know the Joker's name. I barely want to know the Joker's sex. That's how mysterious.
This won't be the definitive Joker story. No. We have seen Joker in so many different incarnations. Yeah, I can take this because I've seen Joker be a wizard. I've seen Joker be a 16-foot hunched over monster in a video game. I've seen Joker in every iteration he could possibly be. I can take this, and this will just be one more story. It's like watching Gotham. Okay, it's a Batman story-ish. I can take it. Why? Because I've read Elseworlds. I am okay with whatever they want to throw out at me, so long as they stick to their own logic in that particular story.
Sure.
I think
the Joker as an example of humanizing villains was the reason why I used the Joker.
And you can't humanize a man who's willing to put white makeup over his mustache and think that that's going to work.
Hey now, don't you mess
Well,
with Adam
Caesar
West or his stuff, man.
I
It's
think that
sacred.
the main issue that nobody's really talking about is we come back to the writers and the future writers. If the current writers, if there's a comics in the future and Marvel's, whatever form is still pumping out comics and those characters, they're going to be looking at these movies and they're going to be basing those stories, future stories, on these movies.
Yeah.
So
You just
what
brought
we
me
said,
down.
yeah. So that's the real concern about it is we can handle it because we've seen, we get the comics, we know Elseworld, we know all this, but future writers, future generations, this will be their definitive Joker, and this is what they'll put in the comics should they become writers.
All right.
It's the caliber that we're receiving now.
Hold on a second,
Well,
guys. Let me come over
I-
here and I'll get to you in a minute, Pope. Let me come over here and catch up with the chat some. We have Simpson Joshua, once again, one of his other sock puppets, and he says, Simpson is the yellow standard. Yes, it is. Scott said, the nerd wins. Yay. And Simpson Joshua continues, says, but I do like the boxing glove arrows. So did I, dude. Scott says, Dark Phoenix almost ate the universe. She is a bad thing, only held back by the X-Men. Yes, that's true, but Jean Grey herself is a very sweet character that they've turned into this nasty, horrible thing. Chicken Sith says, Arrow, that's a weird way to say Felicity's legs. Oh.
I freaking
Scott,
hate
the
Felicity.
Shi'ar Empire and everyone in the kitchen sink had to take her down, not Wolvie in the old school. Yeah, no, of course, it was a major, the Dark Phoenix saga was a major thing. Pocket Jacks Comics, I love that name. What's up? Hey, dude, what's up? Scott says, how ghost the Nazis? I don't know what that means, dude. HAW Joshua, another sock puppet from Joshua. He says, it's not my fault. I never had to overcome anything. I have white privilege. Thank you very much, Joshua. Scott says,
Can I have some?
yeah, sure, right. And the evil Dementor, Captain Voodoo, yeah. He says, international terrorist, that's how he kept getting off scot-free. Oh, I see. Chicken says Carnage. I guess we're talking about back when we were talking about those characters. Scott continues, says, every time they had Doom, he invoked his immunity. Yes, he did. Doom is a great villain, actually. K-Blonde says, unless, of course, for the Joker movie, they do that whole multiple choice past like in Killing Joke. Well, maybe. Chicken Sis says, Space Joker. Okay. Name a more iconic duo than Linda Carter. That's a good point. And Scott finishes up saying, hey, that's a pretty good one. I don't know which one you're talking about, but I'm caught up. Go ahead, Pope.
Yeah, I mean, I was just gonna argue that even though, most of us do know and read other, like, we do consume other media, that still doesn't mean we want to see, like, our favorite characters butchered. Because, I mean, I've read every comic Starfire even cameos in, and I hate Titan Starfire, because I felt like it was a complete disregard for not only the character, but also for the fan base.
Well, she's the wrong color. She's supposed to be orange.
No, Starfire's not orange.
She's orange.
No,
She's
Starfire
orange.
is gold. She is gold. Her nickname in the original series
She's orange.
was Goldie. It wasn't until so there
But
was
she was
two
orange.
issue. No, there was 2 issues where in like this Donna Choi Dark Star story where they made her orange, and then in like the solo series they made her orange. But no, for majority of Starfire's runtime, she is golden skin.
I see. Now, I'm pretty sure she's Donald Trump's illegitimate daughter. I'm pretty sure.
She's not Donald Trump.
She's orange.
Yeah.
No, we already know her parents. Stop triggering me.
She is.
Yeah,
Here I was thinking she was black. I don't.
Yeah, I know. That's what I see.
With a really bad
no.
weave.
Okay. I got some important news, actually. They have actually confirmed that they are getting rid of Anna Diop's Party City wig for Titans, which means they are letting her use her actual hair that they're just going to dye red, and it looks so much better. Not good enough to make me want to watch Titan Season 2, but at least it looks presentable.
It doesn't matter.
You go,
It's
girl.
nonsense. It's ridiculous. Not only is she the wrong color, they didn't even bother to just paint her gold, if that's what you want to go with. Although everyone agrees with me that she's supposed to be orange, just so you know.
She's not orange!
She's
Oh
also
my god!
incredibly unattractive. Incredibly.
Like I have to.
Okay,
Starfire is supposed to
love
be
comics.
sexy,
I
hot,
love
drop
comics.
dead sexy.
You read Judith's
right?
contract not too long ago, right? Do they not? Does Cyborg not call her Goldie? That is her
Yeah,
nickname.
that's her nickname. But you know what? I
Go to
know a lot of black people who actually are not black. I know a lot of white people who actually are not white. So
She is
Goldie,
not orange.
she's they because she's orange, they call her Gold.
This is fun. We should do this more often. Triggering Pope. It's so easy.
Starfire is not orange. She is golden skinned. Oh my god! I hate everybody
You know what?
in this chat.
I think
You're
I
right,
think
Josh,
right
with
here.
the Pope Grow. Orange alien bad. I agree.
I think this is the same thing. This is the same thing as like when men look and they go, "It's pink," and a woman goes, "No, it's not. It's fuchsia." It's freaking pink.
It's not like orange. Orange is completely different from gold. I mean, her name is Coriander. She's supposed to be based like her skin color is the same color as like some certain types of curry.
The spice?
Hey,
Yes.
No.
hey,
Oh my
Thank
god!
you.
You guys
George
trigger me.
is demonstrating. Here we go. Go ahead, George.
this is George Perez's
George
illustration. The guy who created Starfire.
That's right.
She's orange.
Not orange. She's
Yeah,
not.
that
I can message.
Well,
I will
orange.
message George Perez
Yeah,
right
yeah.
now and ask him
Hey,
because I've
chill.
talked to him before.
Chill out.
I can message with
What you're
him and
talking
Marv.
about- What you're talking about, your perception of the color gold is that you're looking at the orange highlights, which gives you the impression of gold, but the base color is orange with highlights.
No, it's too late. I've already asked him.
Good. Let's see what George has to say. Actually, see if you
I
get
gotta-
George on the show. That'd be nice.
Yeah.
I don't know him.
It's
I've tried
actually
to get Starfire's voice actress, like the Titans people, so hard to get. Like I've talked to her on the phone and stuff. She's super nice, but they're so hard to clear their schedule for. I like it's impossible.
Oh,
It
and
is almost-
Juan Poole, just understand, there's no disrespect in the pink, dude. Love the pink. Right?
Oh no, I mean, none at all. I just kind of snickered to myself because I was like, "Well, I'm an artist. I always know the difference between pinks and fuchsias and teals and I always laugh at people that like.
Well, there is always an exception.
Yeah.
But the general guy out there is
In
it's
fact-
pink. No,
When I was with the mother of my kid, she would be like, "Oh, I like this one. It's pink," and I'd be like, "It's fuchsia," and she'd be like, "Don't start your shit." So it was always fun.
yeah, I say the same thing.
I used to always get her with it. She'd be like, "Oh, this is a nice shade of orange. That's coral." Like, go away, Troy. Go. That's probably why she left me.
Okay. It could have had something to do with the pink bisexualness.
Starfire. No, Josh. Starfire is left-handed. I got that confirmed. Starfire is not right-handed. Stop
Wow,
with the
she's
lie.
left-handed. So am I. I'm left-handed as well.
Me
Left-handed
too.
people
That
unite.
explains a lot.
It does.
Are you
Explains
orange?
a lot.
Well,
I am slightly orange.
Starfire,
No, he's gold.
Why is the majority of her using her powers and shooting bolts from the right hand?
Because
Because,
people
okay,
don't do their
Starfire-
research, George.
No, they don't. Starfire has been messed up ever since Marv. Like the whole reason Rebirth in Titans is so much fun is because they got Marv back because he likes the characters. Everybody else looks at the Titans books and goes, "Oh, this is a chore. DC put me on here as punishment." That's why it stinks.
Oh my God!
You know the thing, Pope, that's really interesting to me. You've been on here the show since the beginning. You're one of the founders of FanSpeak, of course. But so many times you just say nothing. You're so quiet. But not today. You have something to say.
I'm just happy today. I'm excited. I had a lot
But
of
isn't
sugar.
it true that she's deaf in one ear?
She might.
No, she's.
Yeah.
Oh my god!
That's what I had found out.
That's what I found out. Yeah, that's right. I do apologize. That's enough picking on Pope, I guess.
Starfire on her home planet, she was born a guy. You know that,
No,
right?
she wasn't. Stop, because people are actually gonna believe you, and then people are gonna they're gonna message me and be like, "Was Starfire actually a guy?" And I'll be like, "No."
Oh, you shouldn't have said that because now that's definitely going to happen.
Well, on her planet, it's different as far as being a guyhood. I mean, that's what happens when
It's
you're
true.
prepubescent on the planet. Everyone is.
Have we ever seen any males of their species? Ooh.
Yes,
Yeah,
all
that's right.
the time.
I don't
We've
know.
seen Tamarinian males all the time. She has a brother.
They're called.
Are they also-
Timberinians?
They come from Narnia. They're telling me.
I'm ignoring you guys. I don't want to talk to any of you anymore.
John Dillard says, John Dillard comes in and he's got a comment here. He says, "Who is the shrill woman, and why should I listen to a bald-headed woman?" What?
Oh my god!
Yeah, she
I
is
am
bald.
not. I actually have too much hair. I have to actually get it thinned.
Oh, do you? Do you? So,
Jerks.
yeah,
Yes,
this is like the
I'm
third or
not
fourth time I've heard the
bald.
bald comment. Where the hell is that coming from anyway, Pope? I know it's a
Okay,
joke,
so
but I mean,
Shabby wanted to mess with me, and because I always wear a hat on stream, he was like, "Oh, that must be because you're bald." And then he was trying to get people to sign up for my Patreon, so I'd take the hat off. And then I ended up taking my hat off, and surprise, surprise, I'm not bald.
oh, I see.
Yeah, she wears a wig. Yeah, that's right.
I don't
Is it a
wear.
toupee?
Is
For
yes,
that
but is the
stream.
wig orange?
We've been trying to get her to actually
No, it's
get herself
gold.
some very red hair,
Gold.
but she refuses.
Okay, I already have
I feel
like
like
a
it's
tint
very
of
easy.
red in my hair.
Yeah.
I don't want to dye my hair because it just messes up your hair. And I like
It
the
does.
color of my hair. I think it's pretty.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
But really, the question is, what does a certain other oiled person think about the color of your hair? That's the question.
Booster likes my hair.
Does he? Has he said so
Yes.
specifically? Really?
Yes, he
I
has
don't
said
think
so
he's. I don't
specifically.
think he's that.
He likes
dynamic.
you to
I'd be
wear it
shocked.
often.
I what? Okay, wait. Say that again. I didn't hear it.
Oh no. That's no need to repeat that. I think it had its moment and it's breathed and it's moved on. But anyway, we're just playing with you, Pope, of course. But we have been going here for a long time, and I think we're coming toward the end of the show. But we'd certainly like to thank Englentine for coming on, sir. Thank you for joining us, and of course you're welcome back anytime. It was a nice conversation. We've also happy to have Wanpool on here, the creator of Wanpool, anyway. Why don't you give me your name once again, there, dude?
Troy Mr. Marvel Torres. You could just call me Troy, but I mean, I go as Mr. Marvel. I got known as Mr. Marvel. So whatever you want to call me, Troy's fine. That's what everybody usually calls me.
Then I will remember that.
And your project's still on, right, Mr. Marvel?
Well, I mean, it's in demand right now.
Mhm.
The campaign, the razzle dazzle, the glitz and glimmer, that's done. It still is in demand. We've raised over 11 grand, and we did it on our own without any endorsements, without, you know what I mean, having to have anybody vouch for us. And we at Science Wizard Comics are very proud of what we were able to accomplish, and very proud to have such an awesome fan base that supported us so well.
That's
cool,
awesome.
dude. Yeah, no,
That's great.
we had our Tales from Beyond the Gate project. We got almost 8 grand. It wasn't enough to get the project funded, but we didn't do any of that either. We were really just pushing on our own, and we got real close. And I think we're going to come back and try again and relaunch that. But definitely congratulations to you and everyone else who's got their things going on. But it's tough, but it's also a very interesting experience to run a Kickstarter or an Indiegogo.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah. Dillard has another comment for you in particular, Troy. He says, that voice, this guy Troy needs to cut back on the cheap whiskey. Oof. Damn.
I don't drink whiskey. That's from cigarettes.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, John.
Yeah, John.
Yeah.
Sorry, John's one of our favorite trolls. He's not the favorite troll because that's Joshua. But we do have some trolls over here, and this is their nice, safe home. It's a safe place for them, really. A safe space, even. But nonetheless, guys, we are going to wrap this up. We thank you very much for joining us, as always. You guys are really cool coming here every day and being part of what we do. Of course, every day we're at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for any of you guys who've come in. We're always doing something over here. We got a ton of shows. Of course, on Tuesdays, we do have Bugbear's Basement, and we're running a Marvel superhero role-playing game right now called God's Blood, and we're having a lot of fun with that, so come check that out. We have our comics news today on most of our days. We do have the FanSpeak here on Friday. Of course, on Thursdays, we have our Comics News Today show, but at 10 p.m. Eastern Time, we run the fan edition of the Drone and Quartered, which, of course, is really cool because we have an actual prize. The winner of that actually gets to go over to the Pro Edition on Blacklist Universe and challenge the pros, and we've actually had a few of them come out and win, so that's really cool. Yesterday, George won, not this George, a different George, and absolutely killer piece, so I'm looking forward to see how he does against the big dogs over there. But, of course, we also have tomorrow, we have our Bunny Vision movie night, and we will be watching the Avengers: Infinity War in preparation for Endgame's release. Yes, it is exciting. And of course, then on Sundays, TFT, Tinfoil Talk, where we do conspiracy theories.
Oh
It is
yeah.
I have a urgent news regarding the fire in France.
Oh, you do. Go ahead.
Yeah, and, nobody knows how the fire started at Dame,
Here comes the confession.
but Quasimodo has a hunch.
Oh,
But I'm
George. All right. Anyway,
Oh
let's go
no.
back over here. Englentine, why don't you give your information? One of my mods will throw your links up in the chat for sure, but tell the people where they can find you, man.
I Love Comics is the YouTube channel. Check that out. And Englentine at Twitter. Easy peasy. If you like movies, I do a show with a friend of mine called Extreme Movie Show. That's also on YouTube. And if you like Disney, I am the homegrown tourist. Just started up those channels. So
Oh,
there you
cool,
go.
dude. Cool. Of course, we also have Juan Pool with us with Troy. And so, Troy, tell the people where they can find you, man.
You can find me at Twitter at Mr. Marvel. You can also subscribe to me on YouTube. Once again, Mr. Marvel. Yeah, I do funny things and get myself into arguments.
Okay.
So check me out.
That sounds fun, dude. And George, why don't you go ahead and give out your links, would you? George?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Links, George.
Links. Oh, GeorgePeterGatsis.com. I have other things to
More
say,
Viagra, George. More Viagra. You got to keep it up,
okay,
man. Come on.
okay.
All right. Anyway, the rest of those guys, of course, you can find right here on FanSpeak. We're always happy to interact with you. Got 2 links down below to me for Facebook and Twitter. If you guys want to be on the show, we're very happy to have you. Of course, this is called FanSpeak after all. We do want to hear from you and want to see you as well. But also, if you want to be on the Drone Recorded Fan Edition, just use those links and tell me, and I'll put you through that process. And it's really cool. We got a lot of people coming on for that. That is really starting to grow, and that is a very cool show. So definitely, if you want to be part of that, do not be shy. Matter of fact, Troy, you might want to come over and join us on the Fan Edition and let us see you draw live, dude.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I might. I might. That sounds like fun.
Yeah,
He's
no, we have a
really
great show over
good.
there. Yeah,
Yeah,
but
he's really good.
yeah, no. Well, that's the thing about the Fan Edition. It might sound like oh, it's amateur hour, but no. These are just working people who just are unknown, really. I mean, the art's coming out there is amazing. There's literally we've had 3 or 4 of them go over to the Pro Edition and beat them all, right? I mean, this is not this is not amateur hour stick figure. Well, Booster is, but they're not. They're serious level artists. So I mean, yesterday we had just a ridiculous amount of amazing anime characters came out, just killer art, right? So definitely, and George, our very orange George, came in second place here. We had 2 Georges,
Yeah,
first and second, yeah.
right. And Chester,
Yeah.
and it's okay. The color version of the fan challenge.
hmm
Can we do coloring Starfire?
Well, we are working. Pixel Trader and I and several other people have been talking about and working on doing a colorist version of Drone Quartered, coloring quarter, I guess what we call it. It's a really good idea, but
Ooh.
it's hard to set that up. One of the things we try to do with many of the programs that we have here on the show is we're trying to promote this indie revival that's going on, and we're trying to promote the all the artists and letterers and inkers and colorists, et cetera, writers that are part of it. And we're trying to gather them into a resource center where you can find and they can get in touch with each other, and they can easier for them to cooperate and find the things they need. Right. That's one of the things we're doing, and we want to do that with colorists because colorists are we know they're out there, but there's not a lot of them that are easy to get a hold of. And the problem is a lot of them are from like India and Indonesia and stuff like that. But we are working on putting that show together, and there is a rumor that a goat might be coming. Ooh. And we'll be looking forward to seeing what she does. But we are working on that, George, and we'll let everybody know when that comes out. That's mainly Pixel, but I'll let you know, dude.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And letterers, like which one could make the most perfectly ovoid, word bubble?
Yeah, I don't know. We might throw that in as part of the colors thing. Try to cover. We can't do letters, man. That would be boring as hell.
Sarcasm.
Yeah, I know. Anyway, guys, thank you very much. It's been awesome. Great day, great chat. Thank you for our guests coming in, Englentine and Troy. You guys are awesome. Glad to have you on the show. We had a lot of fun. But as always, guys, it is time for Denali to take us out of here.
All right. Thank you for joining us for FanSpeak and our guests for joining us and giving their time to entertain everybody here. But as always, your perception shapes your reality, so always make it a good one.
Namaste.
Namaste.
Gesundheit.
Later, guys.
Aloha.
This is FanSpeak, a weekly live show where the fans of comics and its community are our guests.
He said gold.